Morning, everyone. Today is the 9th of June. This is the Plan Your Trade video for the Monday, the 9th of June. This is Brad Matheny. We are looking at come over here and take a look at an inside breakaway in bullish trending with explosive price activity. Nothing has changed with regards to the daily bias or the weekly bias. We are looking at a moderate kind of an open here. We're up just a little bit, 0.15% pre-market. Still kind of in that range, just at the upper range of that upper zone that I talked about, 597, 598. We're just above it. Technically, we're still bullish, ladies and gentlemen. Technically, there is no breakdown yet. There is no change in trend. We are essentially melting upward kind of in this manner off of these lows. Really, you could probably come down here and come all the way up off of these lows and set up kind of an upward channel like this. So we have gotten above that expected price consolidation zone. We are now trending back to the upside. We are moving into historically what is a fairly weak period in the market. So normally the June-July period collapsed back down into some moderate low. We'll see if we get any of that activity coming in the next couple of weeks. But as of right now, like I said, no, we're just slowly melting upwards, struggling to try to move higher. I do believe that this is still struggling to form a top. We'll see how it plays out. Remember, my ultimate objective is a 614 level or higher. Got to get above that level in order to really break out and move into an upward trend. So till we get there, I'm going to be telling you the same thing. Sliding upward, melting upward, struggling upward, still bullish until we see that breakdown, and really that 575, 576 area right here. This is the level that we have to look at as the breakdown. That is that gapping range right here. That is that expanded support level right across this area. You can see I've highlighted it with multiple lines. It's basically right there. And until we get below that level, we are in an uptrend. So moderately strong upward trending. I would still urge traders to stay cautious. We're looking at kind of a sideways rolling type of a trend. And really, as I would say, struggling to get out of its own way. Now, the inside breakaway today, followed by the pop in carryover and the bottom rally start in counter trend on the 11th. This pop and bottom rally start might be fairly interesting, might be a bit of a kind of a spike topping pattern. So, give you a little hint, we might be looking at something kind of like this rolling back down. We shall see. Okay, gold and silver. Gold and silver slightly higher this morning. Silver, this is a 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at the silver pattern. We are looking at a blank pattern today in bullish explosive trending, followed by a temporary bottom, followed by a gap stall revert flush, then a breakdown, then a breakaway. Again, that 11th possible, this is a temporary bottom in counter trend. It could be a temporary top. So again, this rolling gap stall revert flush temporary top tomorrow and on Wednesday, the 11th, could be fairly interesting in terms of a potential roll in the market. So, if we were to get some kind of a moderate roll in price, we could see something over the next day or two like this, maybe moving higher and then maybe rolling back down before we try to come out. And again, maybe shifting higher, rolling back down before we try to come out. So you might get a bit of a rollover in the market. aligning with that breakdown potentially in the SPY and the QQQ. We shall see. Right now, silvers are moving higher. Silver is moving higher. Metals are moving higher. I was saying gold had a nice rally and an exhaustion back down into this apexing zone. So kind of what we're looking at here is for gold to build momentum and to try to move back up into this 34, 50, 34.80 area, maybe back, 33.50, 33.80, maybe back up into this 3400 area, and then try to break out. Silver's already in kind of a pretty big breakout mode, and I'm looking for silver to get up into this $37 area. I've highlighted it earlier. We're not that far. We're 40, 50, 60 cents away, and could happen very quickly with a move up here in silver. We shall see how it plays out. Now, ultimately, we come over here and look at silver on a daily basis. You can see we've really kind of broken out of this channel. We've gotten up past these highs. We're going to likely run into some resistance right over here. And I think that's a fairly good area for traders to realize that this could be a stalling point for silver. Really big breakout. And gold has continued to really struggle to get out of this consolidated range. Let's see here. Gold is very much, stalling out over here near this apex zone. Let me get rid of this big arrow. And understand that the apex zone is really coming right across these lows, right across this area here. So that 3,300 has continued to play out as a strong support level. And now that we're above it and just retesting the lows here at 33.16, 33.20, I think we're looking at a pretty big move to the upside. So we've got a lot of drawing here I'm going to have to get rid of. So let me come in here. And of course, I normally show this to you on an hourly chart, but we have a lot of rotation, a lot of activity going on here. And I'll clean up the rest of it later. But again, if we get a good bounce here, we could be looking at a pretty solid upward move here. And it's really just a matter of time before I think we're going to see something like this in metals, in gold, and that's going to be the big move up into the 36, 3,700 area. Moving into this big rally. Silver's already doing it, but I think it's just a matter of time for gold to try to move up into this 36, 3,700 area. It's just a matter of time. Okay, over here to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a pretty big move. Remember I talked about that 106,500. We're now at 107,791. We're up into this zone already. This is where I would expect the Bitcoin to stall. We're already back up into the 618 area. We could come all the way up into this zone up here before we stall, but this is that 50618 area already. That's the Fibonacci range. I think that we're looking at the peak or close to the peak in Bitcoin, looking for that rollover, the extended continuation downtrend, and we shall see if it sets up. Right now, very interesting setup, how we've moved through this A, B, C, D, E downward trend. And now we're trying to move up into this consolidation zone, stalling kind of like with an ABC pattern up. And now I think if I'm correct and we get this weakness up near this level, we could roll into a deeper downtrend. Really looking for this, 103 level again to get broken. And again, you've got the 106, 700 level that we talked about. If we were to see any big upward trending, we would be looking at this 110, 500 area as a potential breakaway level to the upside. So that 110, 500 level would be the next area here for us to see some sort of a breakaway move to the upside, in my opinion. At this point, we've consolidated, we've broken down, we've established a downward trend. We've now broken above this level here, which is our last little standout high. And that's a regular standard standout high. So we are now technically in a bullish phase for Bitcoin. So that means that we're in an uptrend right now in Bitcoin. And we have cleared the most recent standout high on today's move, assuming it closes where it is right now. That would indicate that we are now in kind of a pullback mode. And we would then attempt to try to get above this standout high over here, which is the 110, 500 area. And we'll see if it does that. If it fails to get above this level, it will roll over into a breakdown trend back over here. So it's either going to come up and break above the 110, 500, or it's going to fail and roll downward, which my bet is it's going to fail and roll downward. I think the markets are consolidating and struggling, and this big rollover top to me seems very indicative of, again, another excess phase peak pattern. I talked about, this big pattern back here that, it's hard to argue as we roll over here, but please need to understand that we also have a little pattern setting up here. Let's do that in light cyan. And we have that little excess phase peak pattern setting up here, which would indicate, again, a potential breakdown and a potential move downward here if we get into that real sideways confirmation breakdown mode. Otherwise, we break back above these highs, these 111, 800, 112, and we are off to the races again to the upside. So let's see how this plays out, guys. Okay, come back here to the SPY. Also wanted to highlight, again, the algos that I run. Holding up pretty well. These are the daily algos. We got a couple of new triggers, but generally we got some triggers that have been in place for, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 days. Doing okay. I mean, really doing quite well here. You're going to be very hard pressed to find some negatives. The losers get picked up and dropped off pretty quickly. So there are losers, guys. There's not everything as a winner, but the winners stick around, and you can see like XBI is already up 2.29% on a daily trigger that started on 6/4. Nugget is up 3.16% from a May 29th trigger. You have these XLC is up 7.64%. IYC 10.2. IYW is up 5.1. And there's the bottom of the list. GDX 529 is up 1.94. FDN is up 15% from 430. Got some pretty big triggers going back to the end of May. ITA is up 16.91. These are newer triggers. So whenever you get something that's only 6 days old or, hypothetically 2 days old, these are newer triggers. And these are the daily triggers. So understand that, this gives you an idea of what sectors are moving, what sectors are long. And again, shows you how these triggers work and how you can profit from moderate swing trades. Now, typically, by the time you hit these two targets, like here in GDX, this is where I tell most traders you should be, have pulled basically 50% off here, 50% off here, which means you'll be left with 25% as a runner. And that's pretty safe. At this point, your stop level is above your entry level. You can't lose on the trade. It's pretty simple, and it seems to work very, very well. Okay, guys, we'll come back over here to the TT scanner, and that's it. Have a great day. Happy Monday, and go get some.